start with the lecture on the differential amplifiers under the subject linear integrated circuit. This video is intended for the mainly for the BTech students. So let's start with the topic. So first of all, what is a differential amplifier? Differential amplifier, as the name suggests, it is an electronic circuit which amplifies the input signal, and it forms the basic fundamental building block of an operational amplifier. As the name suggests, differential amplifier, it amplifies the difference of the two signals which are appearing at the input terminals and amplifying it at the output. That's why it is named as difference. From difference amplifier, it is differential amplifier. The gain of this amplifier is very high, that is capable of amplifying very weak signals, and it can operate on both AC as well as DC signals. So for the construction of the differential amplifier, we are here, you can see we are taking two emitter bias circuits. Emitter bias means this is a in the configuration of common emitter configuration is there, right? As you can see, this is a common emitter configuration, and we know that as an amplifier we normally use common emitter configuration because the gain of that configuration is very high for the amplification purposes. So for the construction of the differential amplifier, we are taking two emitter biased circuits that are very much identical to each other. Means the Q1 and Q2, these transistors Q1 and Q2, which are NPN transistors, they are identical to each other, means their characteristics are matched, and the emitter resistance is RE1 is equal to the RE2. Similarly, the RC1, the collector resistance, is equal to the RC2. Moreover, this DC supply plus VCC is equal to this DC supply plus VCC, and the negative supply minus VE is also equal to minus VE of this circuit. So these two circuits we are taking these two emitter bias circuits which are almost identical to each other. The resistances are same, the potential, the battery which we are using is also same, and the transistors for the proper amplification, it is utmost care is to be taken that the beta and the alpha, the various characteristics of these two transistors should be very much similar to each other, they are matched. So for the construction of differential amplifier, these two circuits we have to make it a single circuit as shown in this diagram. So as we have seen that this is a single battery is now used because VCC1 is equal to VCC2. So while we are using two battery, we are using only single battery, and the connection is made a single connection. This is RC and RC. These are the collector resistances because RC1 is equal to RC. So we are using the designation only RC because RC means both collector resistances are equal now. This is a transistor Q1 and Q2. Now the emitters of these two transistors are connected to each other, and emitter resistance RE is the parallel combination of RE1 and RE2, and the other end is connected to this negative supply. At the base of transistor Q1, we are connecting the input Vin1 through a resistance Rin1, and at the base B2 of transistor Q2, we are connecting a input source Vin2 through a resistance Rin2. So this forms our basic differential amplifier circuit. So from this circuit, by the combination of input and output combination, here in this basic circuit we are taking the output from these two collectors terminals of both the transistors C1 and C2. So this is the output is here is V0. So depending upon the inputs we are using and the output, so the manner in which we are using it, that forms the four configurations of differential amplifier. and these are dual input balanced output. First one is dual input balanced output differential amplifier. What do you mean by dual input? As it means, dual means duo, two. So when we are using two inputs, means V in 1 and V in 2, then that is dual input. And balanced output means when the output is taken from the terminals C1 and C2. That is called as balanced output, because this C1 and C2, they are at the same potential. That's why the output is now termed as balanced output, because we are taking the output from C1 and C2 collector terminals of both the transistors. Now the second configuration is dual input unbalanced output. When I am saying dual input, now it is very well understood by you that we are using two inputs, V in 1 and V in 2. And in case of unbalanced output means now we can either take the output from between C1 and ground, or from C2 and ground, right? So now we are taking the output from one of the collector terminal and with respect to the ground. That's why it is termed as unbalanced, because the potential of C1 and ground or C2 and ground, they are not equal, and that is why it is called as dual input unbalanced output differential amplifier. The third configuration is single input. Single input means either we are using V in 1 or V in 2. Means any one of the input is being used, and balanced output, now you can very well make out that the output is now we are taking from C1 and C2. The last is the single input unbalanced output, means we are taking the single input and the output is now taken from C1 ground or C2 ground. Clear? So these are the four combinations, and we will study all these four combinations in detail. So in this lecture I will be covering only first one. It is dual input balanced output differential amplifier. Okay. Now let us start with the dual input balanced output differential amplifier analysis. This is the same circuit we had drawn earlier. So here we are using the input as V in 1 and V in 2. The internal resistances R in 2 and R in 1 of these two voltage sources. This is the transistor Q1, Q2 with the emitter terminal C1 and E2. This is the emitter resistance, and in this diagram you can see that what is your V in minus V in 2 forms the VID. What is VID? It is the differential input. Differential input means difference of the two inputs, V in 1 and V in 2. And the output is V0, which is taken from these two collectors C1 and C2, because it is a balanced output differential amplifier. So V0 is equal to Vc2 minus Vc1. So let us analyze this circuit. First of all, we will analyze the DC analysis of this circuit. So for the DC analysis, what we have to do, we have to reduce the AC input signals to 0. So here you can see we have reduced it. V in 1 equal to 0 volt and V in 2 is equal to 0 volt. And since both these sections are symmetrical, so we, by finding the in the DC analysis, as we are finding the operating points, that is IC and VCEQ. So by finding these two values IC and VCEQ for single section, that is also applicable to the other section, because the two sections are similar to each other. So let us start with the DC analysis. For first, applying the Kirchhoff's voltage law KVL rule to the base emitter loop of Q1, this one, base emitter loop. So starting from this V in 1, this is 0, we are now moving from positive polarity to negative polarity. So we will take from positive to negative to be negative. And in this circuit we are taking that the current flowing is IB. So writing the equation, this is minus R in into IB minus VBE. VB is this base to emitter voltage minus VBE, then minus RE into 2 times IE plus VEE equal to 0. This forms our equation, first equation. Also the relationship between IB and IE is that IB is equal to IE upon beta DC and IC is approximately equal to IE. So in this equation, as you see that this is IE, so replacing IB by IE upon beta DC. So replacing here IB by IE upon beta DC, so the equation becomes minus Rn. So the equation will become minus Rn IE upon beta DC, then minus VBE minus RE into 2 times IE plus VEE equal to 0. So taking this IE common, what we will get? We will get IE common minus Rn upon beta DC minus RE. We can take it equal to VEE minus VEE plus VBE, right? So IE is equal to, if we are taking this minus also out, so this will become positive and this become negative and this 2 become positive. So IE is equal to VEE minus VBE upon Rn upon beta DC plus R, right? So now our IE is equal to VEE minus VBE upon 2 times RE plus Rn upon beta DC. Now generally this Rn upon beta DC is very less than 2 times RE. So it can be ignored or it can be neglected. So our equation becomes IE is equal to VBE minus VBE upon 2 times RE, because we have ignored this term. So now our IEQ is equal to VEE minus VBE upon 2 times RE. Also we know that this VC is equal to VCC minus RC into IC. So this VC, taking this is VCC is equal to IC into RC. VC means the voltage at this potential, VC. This is VC. So this VC is equal to this VCC minus IC into RC. So this VC is equal to VCC minus IC RC. So from this, earlier we have noted that this is our operating point for the IE. So this is our IEQ. So starting with the analysis for the VCEQ, VC is equal to VCC minus IC RC. Also we know that in seeing this terminal, the voltage at this, what we can say, this VE is approximately equal to minus VBE. So we have to note this also. So VCE, we can say that it is equal to VC minus VE. What is VC? This is VC. VC minus VE. That will become VCE. So VC minus VE is equal to VCE. Sorry, I was pointing at the base terminal. It is there. This is VE, this is VC. So this is VCE, which is equal to VC minus VE. So VC, that is VCC minus ICRC, and VE is equal to minus VBE, right? So this becomes VCC plus VBE minus IC into RC. So this is our VCEQ. So these two things we have find out in the dual input balanced output differential amplifier. So one thing you have to know that the DC analysis is same for all the configuration. The DC analysis is same. What we have find out the operating point, the operating current and operating voltage for the DC analysis of dual input and unbalanced output. So but this analysis is same for all the differential, same for all differential amplifier configurations. So we have analyzed this for first configuration, and for the next configuration we will only concentrate on the AC analysis. This DC analysis stands okay for all the four configurations of stand for all the four differential configurations. So now we will start next with the AC analysis of the amplifier. So for the AC analysis, we have to set the DC voltages to 0, and we have to substitute small t equivalent model for the transistors, and for that we are using the R parameters instead of the H parameters. Why we are using the R parameters? Because R parameters are simple, they are less complex, they are less lengthy as compared to H parameters, and the results obtained from these R parameters are very much near to the actual results. That's why we are using the R parameter. So as you can see, for the AC analysis we have reduced this circuit to the AC equivalent circuit, and here you can see this is the RC, this is the C1 terminal, this is IC1 current flowing, this is RE, these are the E1 and E2 which are connected, then this is IE2, IE1, this is base terminal B1, IB1 current is flowing, this is B in 1, R in 1, RE resistance is there, this is B2 of transistor Q2, then this is R in 2, V in 2, and this is the RC and C2 of the Q2, and we are taking the output at the C2, C1 and C2 terminals, right? So for the AC equivalent we have reduced this VCC and VE equal to 0 volt, right? So for the AC analysis we will be seeing these 4 parameters, mainly 4 or 5 parameters. First is the voltage gain, right? Then current gain, input resistance of the circuit, then output resistance, and common mode rejection ratio CMRR of the circuit. So first starting with the voltage gain. So for the voltage gain it is designated AD. So IE1 is equal to IE2. So for the AC analysis, voltage gain analysis, we are taking that we have to keep these points in mind. This is the voltage gain designated as AD, and this IE1 equal to IE2, RE1 equal to RE2, and it is designated as RE, right? And as we are using the CE common emitter configuration, so we know that the collector voltage is 180 degree out of phase to the input voltages. Also the polarity, we have to check the polarity of the output. That tells that generally we are assuming that C2 is more positive as compared to C1. That's because we are taking V0 is equal to C2 minus C1. Otherwise both these C2 and C2, C1 and C2 are negative polarity or negative with respect to ground. So for the AC analysis we are applying KV Kirchhoff's voltage law to the loops 1 and 2. Now what is the loop 1? This is the loop 1. So applying the KVL, here you can see that apply the KVL. This is V in 1. minus R in 1 into IB1 minus RE into IE1, then minus RE into these two currents are now flowing. This is IE1 and IE2, and in so RE into IE1 plus IE2 equal to 0. So this is the loop 1 starting from here to here. So this is equal to, again I am explaining, this is V in 1 minus R in 1 into IB1 minus RE into IE1 minus RE into IE1 plus IE2 equal to 0. So for the second loop, what will be the equation? Starting from this V into minus R into IB2 minus RE into IE2 minus capital RE into IE1 plus IE2 equal to 0. So these are the two equations we have written as 5th and 6th, right? So also we know that IB1 is equal to IE1 upon beta AC and IB2 equal to IE2 upon beta AC. Now substituting these values of IB1 and IB2 in these two equations, what we will get? The equation 5th becomes V in 1 minus R in 1 into IB1. What is IB1? It is IE1 upon beta AC minus RE into IE1 minus RE into IE1 plus IE2 equal to 0. Similarly, substituting IB2 in equation 6, we get V into minus R into IE2 upon beta AC minus RE into IE2 minus RE into IE1 plus IE2 equal to 0. So these become 7th and 8th equations. Now, generally what it is written that R in 1 upon beta AC and R in 2 upon beta AC, these are very small because beta is very large. So these can be neglected. So applying to these equations 8 and 9, R in 1 upon beta AC, these is very small. So it can be neglected. And our equation becomes RE plus RE into IE1 plus RE into IE2 equal to V in 1. We have taken V in 1 and V in 2 on one side and the other terms on the other side of the equation. Like this. So taking IE1 RE plus RE minus RE into IE2 equal to V in 1. I1, similarly I1 and I2. Clear? So solving these equations and ignoring that term of R in 1 upon beta AC, we will get these two equations 9 and 10. Now we have to solve these two equations for two currents IE1 and IE2 by using the Cramer's rule. Now what is Cramer's rule? Cramer's rule says that if it is AX plus BY equal to C1, then A1, this is A1, this is A2 into X plus B2 into Y equal to C2. Then according to Cramer's rule, AX equal to dx upon d and Y is equal to dy upon d. Now what is d? D is equal to taking this A1, determinant A1, B1 into A2, B2. And what is dx? Replacing the coefficients of X by C1 and C2. So this is C1, C2, B1, B2. And what is dy? Dy is equal to, now replacing the coefficients of y, B2 and B1 and B2 by C1 and C2. So this becomes A1 and A2 into C1 and C2. So this is nothing but our determinant. This will become A2 into B2 minus A2 into B1. This is C1 into B2 minus C2 into B1, A1 into C2 minus A2 into C1. So this you already know. So here you can see that IE1 is equal to now dx upon d. So replacing the coefficient of IE1 by V in 1 and V in 2. V in 1 by V in 2, RE coefficient of this and RE plus capital RE. Divide by d. D means all these four, RE plus RE and RE, RE plus RE and RE. So all these we have taken. So solving this, what we will get, that cross multiply V in 1 into RE plus RE minus RE into V in 2 divided by RE plus RE whole square minus RE square. Solving this, we will get the value of IE1. Here we haven't solved it. Next is similarly finding the value of IE2, which is equal to, by using the Cramer, now you can very well make it out. So this is equal to this. So our equations are this for IE2 and earlier one for IE1. So now what is our V0? V0 is equal to Vc2 minus Vc1. What is Vc2? Voltage at the C2 terminal or collector terminal of transistor Q2 minus voltage at the collector terminal of transistor Q1, which is equal to minus RC IC2 minus RC into IC1. So RC into IC1 minus RC into IC2. Clear? So as we know, IC is approximately equal to IE, so it is equal to IE1 minus IE2. Okay? So IE1 and IE2, we have find out the values of IE1 and IE2. Putting those values, we will get like this. We will get V0 is equal to RC common, and we have taken the common, and this is inside the IE1 and IE2 values. So we have taken V in 1 minus V in 2 terms on both sides, and like this we have simplified it. So taking V in 1 minus V in 2, it is equal to RE plus 2RE upon, opening these brackets, it is RE square plus 2RE RE plus RE square minus RE. This cancelled out, and taking RE common from this, we will get it is RE plus 2RE inside the bracket, and these two terms now get cancelled out, and we are left with the RC upon RE into V in minus V in 2, and this is equal to V0. So now V0 is equal to RC upon RE into VD, VID. VID is nothing but V in 1 minus V in 2. So now this becomes V0 upon VID is equal to RC upon RE. So what is V0 upon VID? Means input upon output. This is nothing but the differential gain, which is equal to RC upon RE. So this is the gain of this dual input balanced output differential amplifier. So next is the differential input resistance. So differential input resistance is the equivalent resistance that is measured at any of the input terminals with other terminal is grounded. Means when RI1 is the equivalent resistance we are measuring from the V in one side, when V in 2 is set to 0, and similarly RI2 is measured from the V in 2 side when V in 1 is set to 0. So generally the source resistances R in 1 and R in 2 are very small. These are very small, so these are ignored. So Ri1 is equal to, it is voltage upon current, V in 1 upon IB1, keeping V in 2 equal to 0. So V in 1 upon IB1, as we know, that is IE upon beta AC. So IE1 upon beta AC, keeping V in 2 equal to 0. Now substituting the value of IE1 from that equation which we calculated in the first parameter. So substituting the value of IE1 here, what we will get, Ri1 equal to beta AC V in 1 upon Re plus Re V in 1 minus Re into 0. For V in 2 we have put it equal to 0 upon Re plus Re square minus Re. So solving this, what we will get this beta AC into Re square plus 2Re upon Re plus small re plus capital R. Right? So beta AC Re, solving this, what we will get, taking Re common, beta AC into Re, inside the bracket it is Re plus 2Re upon Re plus Re. Like this. So from the numerator we have taken Re common, small re common, right? So the equation is now like this. Now generally this small Re means the emitter resistance is very much greater than this small Re. So this Re plus 2Re becomes approximately equal to 2Re, and Re plus capital Re becomes approximately equal to capital Re, because Re is very small, so it can be small Re can be ignored. So these equations, in these equations we have ignored this. So what it become? Beta Ac into Re into 2Re upon Re. So this cancelled out. So this Ri1 means input, equivalent input resistance from the first terminal becomes it equal to 2 times beta Ac into Re. Similarly, Ri2 can be calculated from the V into side, keeping V in 1 equal to 0. So Ri2 is equal to V into upon Ib2, and Ib2 is equal to Ie2 upon beta Ac. So keep putting the value of Ie2 from that we had calculated. So Ri2 become this when we put the value of Ie2, and it is equal to this. Similarly, we are ignoring this small Re, and our equation becomes beta times Re into 2Re upon Re, and this gets cancelled out. So this is equal to 2 times beta Ac into Re. So from both the sides we can see that our input resistances are same. Okay. So coming to the third parameter, that is the differential output resistance. So for the output resistance, we are taking the equivalent resistance, output resistance, that is measured at either output terminal with respect to ground, either at C1 or at C2. So when we measure the resistance at these two terminals, so what we will get, that is equal to RC, nothing but the collector resistance. So coming to the fourth parameter, that is current gain. So current gain of differential amplifier is undefined, so we won't do the analysis of this parameter. Last one is the common mode rejection ratio. As we know that common mode rejection ratio is a very important parameter for an operational amplifier, for a differential amplifier. The common mode means the voltage that is applied at both the terminals, that is common mode. So common mode rejection ratio means that it should be able to reject the common voltages applying at the two terminals. Also, we also know that the differential amplifier take the difference of the difference of the two signals. So when these two are same, then automatically the input voltage will be equal to 0. So automatically it will be rejected. So but practically it is not equal to 0. Some voltage comes there. So ideally it should be very high, means the CMRR ratio should be very high, and that quality of this amplifier is helpful in suppressing the undesired noise that is present at both the input terminals. So this is a very important characteristics of differential amplifier, and this is applicable, or this is achievable only because when these two transistors Q1 and Q2 are more matched, only then we will get better CMRR. So we can say that it is the ability of the differential amplifier to reject a common mode signal, and it is defined by the CMRR, which is given by this equation, AD upon ACM. What is AD? It is the differential gain divided by common mode gain. This is the differential gain, and this is the common mode gain. So ideally this common mode gain should be equal to 0. That's why CMRR will be very high, and this ACM is equal to VOCM divided by VCM, that is output voltage when the common mode is there add to the input common mode voltage. So ideally ACM should be 0. So we should have higher CMRR for a significant differential amplifier, right? So these are the 5 characteristics which we have discussed now. So let us take one problem. So let us see one problem. So the specifications are given for the dual input and balanced output differential amplifier, and the RC is given as 2.2 kilo, and this is not RB, this is RE. RE equal to 4.7 kilo, Rn1 is equal to Rn2 equal to 50 ohms, VCC is equal to 10 volt, minus V equal to minus 10 volt, beta DC and beta AC equal to 100 volt, 100, and VB equal to 0.715 volt. So what we have to determine? We have to determine the operating point ICQ and VCQ. So the value of ICQ can be obtained from this equation, that is equal to V minus VB upon 2 times RE plus Rn upon beta DC. So all the values of all the parameters are given. V equal to 10 volt minus 0.715, which is VB, upon 2 times RE. RE, what is RE? RE is 4.7, so 2 times it is 9.4 plus 50 upon 100. Solving this, what we will get? ICQ equal to 0.988 milliampere. Similarly, VCQ can be obtained by putting the values in this equation. This is VEA. So this is equal to 10, VBA. So this is 10 plus 0.715 minus RC is 2.2 and ICQ is this 0.988, and this, solving this, will coming out to be 8.54 volts. So the operating points are for IC equal to 0.988 milliampere and the VCQ equal to 8.54 volt. So the value of ICQ and VCQ are same for both the transistors, as we have already discussed in the DC analysis of the amplifier. So I have taken this from this book, Ramakant Ekbut Gaikwad, that is the 3rd edition of Op-Amp and Linear Integrated Circuits. Thank you all. If you have any query, you can write in the comment box at the